Hey yo, what is going on, viewers of YouTube? My name is Tyler of Chico Crypto, and welcome to the best research and most controversial channel in the crypto space. So, today we will be looking into Ethereum and the possibility of another chain split, like what happened with Ethereum Classic. Now I want to explain, I love Ethereum and not trying to cause any FUD, but this is just what I have researched and found. So Ethereum is in a very deciding time for the protocol. If you didn't hear the news last week, the Ethereum Hardfork Constantinople was supposed to take place on January 16th, but was delayed last minute due to a potential vulnerability in one of the software upgrades. Security researchers, Chain Security, and Trail of Bits ran and are still running an analysis of the Ethereum blockchain and smart contracts. Ethereum Improvement Proposal 1283, which introduced a cheaper gas cost for smart contract operations, was identified as the problem, and they found certain smart contracts already running on Ethereum could have become vulnerable to re-entrancy attacks. Now, what is interesting to me is they did not find any cases of this vulnerability in the wild yet, but since there are some contracts that haven't been checked and might be vulnerable, it's a non-zero risk. In a statement from Ethereum core devs, they explained, because the risk is non-zero and the amount of time required to determine the risk with confidence is longer than the amount of time available before the planned Constantinople upgrade, a decision was reached to postpone out of abundance of caution. This may be true, and the security firm Chain Security put out a really good explainer, but maybe this was delayed for another reason. Maybe, just maybe, there is going to be a contentious hard fork, resulting in an Ethereum chain split, which of course we know would do damage to Ethereum and split the community, just like the Ethereum Classic hard fork, and that was the reason for the delay, and this vulnerability is just a cover-up. Now, to explain why a chain split might happen, we need to understand what exactly is going on. One of the major upgrades for the Constantinople upgrade is EIP 1234, and this reduces the block reward from the current 3 Ethereum per block to 2 Ethereum per block. ASIC miners have currently come to the Ethereum network and are able to successfully mine the Eth-hash algorithm. These ASIC miners are able to more profitably mine due to their greater efficiencies. The GPU miners who built and have secured the Ethereum network since its launch will be the ones most affected by this drop in rewards, most likely making it unprofitable for them to keep mining, especially at the current prices. Because of this, there was a change to the Eth-hash protocol proposed called Progressive Proof of Work, or ProgPow, which would allow GPUs to mine more efficiently compared with the ASICs, basically leveling the playing field between GPUs and ASICs. This ProgPow was discussed heavily and is still being discussed up to this minute, and many thought it was going to be included with the Constantinople hard fork. Eventually though, it was decided to be implemented later, if at all. If ProgPow isn't implemented and ASIC miners are able to run free, what do you think would happen to the GPU miners if they had their block rewards reduced, making it massively unprofitable to mine? They would switch to another chain, like Ethereum Classic, which has higher block rewards and profitability. And what if it is implemented and ASIC mining becomes way less profitable on Ethereum? The ASIC miners would switch to a chain that supports them, like Ethereum Classic. Now, here is what I find to be very interesting and telling. The Ethereum Classic 51% attack, which happened on January 7th, 7 days before the hard fork was supposed to happen. Yes, Ethereum Classic got attacked, and still no one knows who did it nor why. If we take a look at the Ethereum hash rate from January 3rd to January 10th, we can see the hash rate of Ethereum took a significant drop on the day of the attack, January 7th. Who was dropping out and why? I have a couple theories on why. This was a group of Ethereum ASIC miners who have a massive stake in keeping Ethereum the way it is. They threatened the GPU miners that if they switch to Ethereum Classic or they split the Ethereum chain, these miners will attack the Classic chain on the date of the hard fork or the new Ethereum chain, basically flexing their ASIC hashing muscles at the GPU miners. The last thing these ASIC miners want is a contentious fork, resulting in diluted Ethereum value. The reason I think this is plausible is because the attackers necessarily didn't have nefarious intentions. It was not about double spending Ethereum Classic and making money. How do I know this? The attacker or attackers returned 100K USD value of Ethereum Classic back to the exchange Gate.io on January 10th. Here is a quote from the exchange on the return. On January 10th, we found that the recent ETC 51% attacker returned 100K USD value of ETC back to Gate.io. We are trying to contact the attacker, but we haven't got any reply until now. We still don't know the reason. If the attacker didn't run it for profit, he might be a white hat hacker who wanted to remind people the risk in blockchain consensus and hashing power security. Sounds kinda alright, but plausibly it was the other way around. This could have been a group of GPU miners flexing their hashing muscles at Ethereum, basically saying if you don't add ProgPow, look at what a group of us could do. We will switch. But I think it's theory number one, personally. The only one who knows is a person or group who did it. But it did have a major effect because the Constantinople Hardfork was obviously delayed, and I don't believe it was because of a vulnerability. The Ethereum chain would have split and the developers knew it, so they delayed. The new date of the Constantinople Hardfork is sometime in late February. Estimation is February 27th. So, this is a big date. Who are the stakeholders in this and what are the consequences for each group? Number one, you have the miners who use ASICs. Number two, you have the miners who use GPUs. Number three, you have the non-mining Ethereum holders. And number four, you have the Ethereum developers, including Vitalik. Obviously, the ASIC miners are against ProgPow and are okay with the Constantinople Hardfork since they will still be profitable. The GPU miners do not want Constantinople, but if it does go through, they want ProgPow to be included. The regular ETH holders don't have much of a say and are at the will of the final group, the Ethereum developers. Now here's where things get interesting. If you didn't know, there is an ASIC mining company called Lindsay, headed by Chen Min, former chief maker at Bitcoin mining chip developer Cannon Creative. She announced a new mining rig for Ethereum and Ethereum Classic back in September at the Ethereum Classic Summit, codenamed Project Lava Snow. These miners are powerful, 1400 megahashes, compared with Bitmain's who is only 190 megahashes, and they only use 1/8 of the power. Now, these miners are slated for an April 2019 release and are supposedly not in the wild. I call bullshit, and Lindsay was the one who attacked the Ethereum Classic chain. Here is the suspect's address who attacked the chain, a private mining pool. Here is what the mining pool's hash rate did before and during the Ethereum Classic attack. As we can see, a big spike towards the end, which was during the attack on January 7th. And here's what Ethereum Classic network's hash rate as a whole was during the same period of time. I'm sure you can spot the correlations. Now look at the exact numbers. At its peak, the private pool had a hash rate of 6,250 gigahashes per second, or 6.25 terahashes. The Ethereum Classic hash rate at its peak had slightly over 10 terahashes. It's obvious this pool managed to achieve 51% of the total network hash rate, and Lindsay is a top suspect. Even Ethereum Classic agrees with me, or they did. On the day of the attack, the official Ethereum Classic Twitter put out this tweet. Regarding the recent mining events, we may have an idea of where the hash rate came from. ASIC manufacturer Lindsay confirmed testing of new 1400 megahashes Ethash machines. Hashtag Project Lava Snow. Well, guess what? The tweet has since been deleted, and my guess is Lindsay forced them to delete this. Good thing the internet never forgets. Now, if this is true, the Ethereum developers are in the middle of a war, and this decision to implement ProgPow or not is big. They can allow Lindsay to control the hash rate until proof of stake is implemented. But how far is that away? If it's less than a year, then that might be okay. But if it's longer than that, ProgPow needs to be implemented, or Ethereum is at risk to be controlled by a single entity. From what is being said, ProgPow is still up in the air. No official decision. As more information comes out, Chico will keep you updated. Remember, friends, things aren't as always as they seem on the surface, and you have to dig to find out the truth. I'll keep on digging, you keep on watching. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.